OINP, a new pathway for international students. Have you heard about the exciting changes in the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, particularly the Employer Job Offer International Student Stream? It serves as a route to Ontario's permanent residence for international students with job offers in eligible skilled occupations. The Government of Ontario has implemented significant changes, expansions that broaden the eligibility criteria for students who have completed at least a one-year college graduate certificate from eligible institutions. Fascinating, isn't it? So, let's immediately dive into the recent modifications that Ontario has brought to this program. Ontario has recently expanded the eligibility requirement for the OINP Employer Job Offer International Student Stream. This significant shift has opened up new avenues for international students who have completed a one-year college graduate certificate, thereby widening the scope of the program. Originally, the OINP's Employer Job Offer International Student Stream permitted candidates to apply with a one-year credential from an eligible institution only if the program required the completion of a degree as an admission prerequisite. Now, this has changed. Any student who has completed a one-year college program that grants an Ontario College Graduate Certificate is eligible to qualify for the program. This modification effectively increases the number of certificate programs that are eligible for the OINP. This change took effect on the first day of January 2024. This means that the OINP now provides an expanded pathway to permanent residence for international students who have a job offer in an eligible skilled occupation in Ontario. The stream is designed for international students residing both in or outside Canada, with a job offer in a skilled occupation classified as Type or Level 0 A or B in accordance with Canada's National Occupational Classification. Alongside a job offer, international students must ensure that they, their employer, and the job offer meet the program criteria. The Ontario employer is required to complete an employer form, which the international student must submit when applying. If the application is approved and an Ontario provincial nomination is issued under this stream, nominees may apply for a work permit and Canadian permanent resident status with Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. In essence, this change has lowered the barriers of entry to the OINP for international students, providing them with more opportunities to establish a life in Ontario. As a result, Ontario's workforce can benefit from a broader range of skills and experiences, enriching the province's multicultural fabric. This change has significant implications for international students aiming for permanent residence in Ontario. It's a welcome development that reflects Ontario's commitment to attracting and retaining talented international students who contribute significantly to the local economy and society. So, what exactly is the OINP Employer Job Offer International Student Stream? Well, it's a pathway designed for international students who have a job offer in an eligible skilled occupation in Ontario. It's a way to achieve permanent residence, whether you are residing in Canada or anywhere else around the globe. This stream is applicable for those who have a job offer in what's known as a skilled occupation. These are jobs classified as Type or Level 0, A or B, according to Canada's National Occupational Classification. But it's not just about having a job offer. To qualify, you, your employer, and the job offer itself must meet specific criteria outlined by the program. For instance, the employer in Ontario is required to fill out an employer form, which you, the international student, must submit along with your application. Upon approval, an Ontario provincial nomination is issued under this stream, which allows nominees to apply for a work permit and Canadian permanent resident status. Now, let's talk about the credentials. To be eligible, candidates need to have obtained one of the following: an undergraduate degree or diploma that takes at least 2 years if pursued on a full-time basis from an eligible Canadian institution, a graduate degree or diploma that takes at least 1 year if pursued on a full-time basis from an eligible Canadian institution, a college or university graduate certificate that takes at least 1 year to complete if pursued on a full-time basis from an eligible Ontario institution. Remember, more than half of your studies must have been completed at an eligible Canadian institution while living and studying in Canada. To confirm if your graduate certificate is an eligible credential, check that the official credential from your institution is an Ontario College Graduate Certificate. In addition to having the right education credentials, Applicants must also meet several other requirements, such as having an approved full-time job offer of indeterminate length in a skilled occupation in Ontario and demonstrating the intention to reside in Ontario, among others. With a job offer in a skilled occupation, the international student stream could be your pathway to permanent residence. Now, let's talk about the eligibility criteria for the international student stream. Firstly, candidates must have earned one of the following credentials: an undergraduate degree or diploma that takes at least 2 years if pursued on a full-time basis from an eligible Canadian institution, a graduate degree or diploma that takes at least 1 year if pursued on a full-time basis from an eligible Canadian institution, a college graduate certificate that takes at least 1 year to complete if studied full-time from an eligible Ontario institution, or a university graduate certificate that takes at least 1 year to complete if studied full-time from an eligible Ontario institution. Remember, more than half of your studies must have been completed at an eligible Canadian institution while living and studying in Canada. Next, you must have an approved full-time job offer of indeterminate length in a skilled occupation, classified as Type Level 0, A, or B in Ontario. This job offer must meet the entry-level wage levels in Ontario for that occupation. Additionally, it's critical that you possess the mandatory licensure or authorization required for your job at the time of applying. This ensures that you're truly qualified for the skilled occupation you're being offered. Another crucial criterion is demonstrating your intention to reside in Ontario. You may be required to show your ties to Ontario, such as current or previous employment, or even having family or close relations in the province. Finally, if you're residing in Canada, you must have and maintain legal status, be it a visitor record, study permit, or work permit, in Ontario throughout the application period. This ensures that your stay in the country is legal and recognized by the government. By meeting these criteria, you greatly increase your chances of successfully applying for the OINP. Remember, this program is designed to attract skilled international students to Ontario, and demonstrating your abilities, intentions, and legal status is key to be considered. Understanding these criteria is crucial to successfully applying for the OINP. A key part of the eligibility criteria is demonstrating a connection to Ontario. Now you might wonder, how can I establish this connection? Well, there are several ways, and one of the most straightforward is through employment. Current or previous employment in Ontario can solidify your connection to the province. Working in Ontario not only shows your interest in contributing to the local economy, but also exhibits your understanding of the work culture and environment here. And remember, this doesn't have to be a long-term job. Even a brief stint of employment can be a valuable asset. But what if you've never worked in Ontario? Don't worry, there are other ways to prove your connection. If you've studied in Ontario, that's a significant connection right there. Even if your studies weren't directly tied to your job offer, the time you've spent in Ontario, the relationships you've built, and your familiarity with the local culture and community can all contribute to demonstrating your ties to the province. For those of you who haven't had the opportunity to study or work in Ontario, there's no need to fret. Your intention to reside in Ontario can also be a powerful indicator of your connection. You can demonstrate this through a variety of means, such as planning for housing, researching local communities, or even simply expressing a strong desire to live and work in Ontario. It's also important to remember that every bit of your journey counts. If you've visited Ontario, share about it. If you've participated in local events or community groups, definitely mention it. If you have family or close friends in Ontario, that's another strong tie. The key is to paint a picture of your genuine interest in and connection to Ontario. So, take some time to reflect on your connection to Ontario, whether it's through work, study, or personal ties. Gather evidence and be ready to present it when you apply. Remember, your connection to Ontario isn't just about fulfilling a criteria. It's about showing your commitment to becoming a part of the Ontario community. Your ties to Ontario can make a significant impact on your application. We've covered a lot of ground today about the OINP. Let's take a moment to summarize the key changes to the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, or OINP. The most pivotal change being the expansion of the eligibility criteria for the employer job offer, international student stream. This expanded eligibility now allows candidates with any one-year Ontario College graduate certificate to qualify for the program. This is a significant shift from the previous requirement, which only considered those one-year credentials that necessitated a degree for admission. Unveiled on the first day of this year, This change paves the way for a larger number of certificate programs to be eligible for the OINP. The International Student Stream now offers an accessible pathway to permanent residence for international students who have a job offer in an eligible skilled occupation in Ontario, be it within or outside Canada. Remember, in addition to having a job offer, students must ensure that they, their employer, and the job offer meet the program criteria. It's crucial to verify that your credential is indeed an Ontario College Graduate Certificate and that you have an approved full-time job offer of indeterminate length in a skilled occupation in Ontario. These changes to the OINP open up new avenues for international students seeking permanent residence in Canada. Stay tuned for more updates and insights about immigration programs like the OINP,